Hello and welcome. Welcome to Conspiracy of Truth, episode 30. I am Mary Grace, and this is Praying Medic, and this is our 30th time doing this show together. And we are coming after some remarkable events of the last few weeks, the biggest of which obviously is the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We will be talking some about that today. We're also going to be talking about other things that have been happening in the news. There are a lot of things that we can actually celebrate. And one of the things that we love about having a conversation with Dave is that we can really unpack some things that will have an impact on people on a national level, down to state level, things that are going on in the DOJ, the Department of War, things like that. So we will be having discussions about those things. And as usual, when Dave and I are talking, we are having a conversation. We're not doing an interview. And so he'll talk sometimes and I'll talk sometimes. So if you're used to me doing an interview format on some of my shows, this is not one of those times. And so if that's not okay with you, that's fine. We don't need you to stay. But if you are interested in what we have to say and in the conversation, we do welcome you to stay. We also welcome you to share, to follow, subscribe, and take part in what we're doing today. It's really good to see everybody. It looks like we've got folks coming in from YouTube, Rumble, Facebook is live, and we're on X. And so wherever you're watching from, please say hello. Please join in the chat. Dave is doing some reposting and retweeting and things like that right now. So he's not ignoring you. He's not ignoring me. He is doing some housekeeping. And one little bit of housekeeping that I will tell you is that neither Dave nor I will ever private message you with any type of investment opportunity, whether it's crypto, Forex, gold, things like that. We're not doing that. We're not messaging, especially on Telegram. That seems to be where most of the scams are happening. So please, please, if you see something like that, ignore it. My accounts on social media are verified. Dave's accounts are verified. And if you're ever wondering if it's the same Dave on Telegram, he has, I think at this point, close to 150,000 followers over there. So if you see a fake account that has a couple, maybe 2,000 or whatever, it's not Dave. And the same with me. My Facebook page has over 100,000 followers. And so if you get anything that you see that has, a few couple hundred, a few followers that's pretending to be me, it's not. So please be aware of that, especially right now. There are just insane things coming out of the woodwork over the last week and a half. And we don't want you to fall prey to any of that nonsense. So please be careful. And I have an email list. Sometimes I send emails. Dave has has emails. If you want to contact either of us directly, just email us through our website. I guess that's it. Is that good for the housekeeping?
I have as many links posted as I can do without getting kicked off of some platform.
You're fast. Yeah, and one thing that's kind of exciting, I want to tell everybody, if you missed the notification for today, please make sure you get on my mailing list on my website, marygracemedia.com. Go over there and join the mailing list. And the other thing I wanted to tell you, this is kind of exciting, is that I actually have an Amazon storefront now, and I will be compiling a list of all of Dave's books so that you can go and just click and find them all. Yep, and here's okay. If you can't wait for the storefront and you want to see his latest book, here's the link right here. You can scan to order. That's Upturius, and that leads you to Amazon. And that is Dave's first work of science fiction, which is very exciting and has had amazing reviews. And if you have already read it, please go and leave a good review over on any platform where you have read the book. And that goes for any of Dave's books, because it's not just that one. Dave has another fiction, two works of fiction that are wonderful, Charity's Garden and Gates of Shiloh. And so again, I'm going to be compiling all of this into one list in my Amazon store. So please Check it out. I'm going to show you the link here for that. And it's at the bottom of the screen. You can go directly to that. I'll be adding it to my website. So it's pretty exciting. And it's a wonderful thing, a feature they have, because I can compile lists of all kinds of stuff. And of course, we're going to do Dave's books. So
Thank you.
very convenient. Yes. And so, yeah. Any other books you want me to highlight right now?
No, that'll do it for now.
Okay. All right. We'll come back. And let me take this down. So again, my website, marygracemedia.com. That's how you can get on the mailing list. I sent out a big email right before we went live. And so hopefully a lot of you guys are here because you saw that. And okay. So Dave, how are you doing?
Rough week and a half, huh?
Yeah.
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
I'm pouring myself into some things that need attention. Doing some amateur radio stuff, some Meshtastic stuff, working on a couple of manuscripts, book manuscripts, trying to focus my mind, my energy on things that are not related to the tragic death of a great American patriot.
Yeah.
I spent enough days crying and sorting through feelings, and I am trying to move on.
I'm trying to also, and I just mentioned to you at the beginning of the show that I'm still crying. And it's just, I guess, this is good because everybody processes grief differently. So I think this is good that, you're moving on and you're kind of focusing on work. And I'm doing that too, but I still not a day goes by yet that I don't cry somehow, and and that's okay. We're all different. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about with regard to this is something that the Lord put on my heart this morning when I was reading the Bible. I'm doing a study of the book of Luke, and I was rereading through the first chapter of Luke. And this is where, if you're not familiar with that, this story starts out with John, the birth of John the Baptist. And at the very beginning of the story, we have found out that not only is Elizabeth having a child, John the Baptist, who will later be known as John the Baptist, but also Mary finds out that she is with child by the Holy Spirit. And, this is obviously one of the most significant events in all of human history. Well, something that really jumped out to me when I was reading this is that when Mary went to see Elizabeth, and this is in Luke chapter 1, starting in verse 39. Okay, it says, "In those days Mary arose and went with haste into the hill country to a town in Judah, and she entered the house of Zechariah and greeted Elizabeth. And when Elizabeth heard the greeting of Mary, the baby leaped in her womb. And Elizabeth was filled with the Holy Spirit, and she exclaimed with a loud cry, 'Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb. And why is this granted to me, that the mother of my Lord should come to me? For behold, when the sound of your greeting came to my ears, the baby in my womb leaped for joy. And blessed is she who believed that there would be a fulfillment of what was spoken to her from the Lord.'" Now, in this case, we have two women who are seeing the fulfillment of what the Lord has spoken to them. But what stood out to me on this was something pretty powerful. And that is, we have been hearing stories, thousands of stories now, of people who have either come back to the Lord or who are coming to the Lord through this situation. And you might say that our nation and the world at large has been crying out for a miracle, for revival, for a turning point, a turning around of the things that have been happening. And what stood out to me so much with this was the Lord showed me when the baby in Elizabeth's womb heard the voice of the Lord, the baby leapt in her womb. And what I see happening right now, this is what the Lord showed me, the legacy of Charlie Kirk, the anointing that he carried, the power of the Holy Spirit that he carried was the power and the anointing of Jesus Christ. And, many people have been like binge watching his videos. They're all over the internet. And so people are hearing and hearing and hearing the gospel and seeing the anointing that he had. And many people, I think, could be in that position of, the baby in the womb that is just waiting for the voice of the Lord. And so this is what the Lord showed me. We are seeing that cry and that movement, because this nation has been pregnant, and expecting and longing for something, and that's what's happening right now, because there are intercessors and prophets who have been crying out for this nation to be saved, for a turning, for another great awakening, for revival. And we're seeing it across all age groups. It's not just the Gen Z. It's very, very powerful to me. And one of the other things I wanted to say is that back in 2018, the Lord showed me that this generation of young people would be called the hero generation. And he said very clearly that he was taking, the conservatism and the strength and the power of the greatest generation and accelerating that in a way that you couldn't even imagine. More conservative, more effective, more focused on the gospel, and that they would have an impact on the world that we couldn't even imagine. And so I think that some of what we're going to see right now is a fulfillment of that. And obviously, Charlie Kirk had a vision for that. That was the group that he focused on. And so I wanted to put that out there because I see God moving. And so I do have hope. I mean, my heart is, broken, but it's also, I have hope because I know that God is moving and that there is revival happening, and it's happening worldwide. And so if anyone is listening and you're wondering what is the purpose of this, I urge you to listen to the Lord, look at what his purposes are and ask him. And let's not walk away from what it is that God is bringing forth, because we have an opportunity for revival in this country, and that's what we're seeing. So let's not squander it. Let's not waste it.
Yeah, let's make the most of it. On a related issue, religious and political movements act something like a pendulum, in that they swing one direction and another, and they swing back and forth. You look through the Bible in the Old Testament, the nation of Israel would draw close to the Lord through godly leaders and leadership, and then fall away from the Lord, fall into mass, sin and debauchery and idolatry for a period of time, usually under wicked kings. And then they'd reach a crisis point. They'd cry out to God. God would do some miraculous thing, and they would come right back to the Lord, and there'd be revival. They'd have, a righteous king, and then the pendulum would start swinging back the other way. And that is just how political and religious movements are. We're right now at a tipping point, a turning point. We're at a crisis point. Here in America, and throughout Europe as well, there has been a long, slow burn of cultural Marxism, and that has been married to the Islamist movement, which is very prevalent in Europe. It is growing here in the United States. The spread of Islam, mosques, and the spread of not just Islam, but uh, jihad, and uh, the violent tendencies of some sects of Islam have gotten entrenched, and uh, and and they've kind of married themselves to Marxists, and some people call it the Red-Green Coalition.
Mm.
And what's happening is our kids from elementary school through high school through college are being indoctrinated into this Marxist ideology, into anti-American ideology. The trans movement, all these other ideological perversions that have been introduced into our culture. They've done it slowly, and they've been very successful at it. And now suddenly, parents are waking up. People are like looking around like, what the heck? How did this all happen? We just found out that yesterday that the person who was arrested for an attempted assassination of Justice Kavanaugh 3 years ago, in court documents that were filed, he identifies himself as a trans woman. So how many trans identifying people have we seen just in the last 3 or 4 years who have either gone into a school and done a mass shooting or an attempted assassination, or in this case, Charlie Kirk's assassin, not someone who's trans, but someone who is trans adjacent. That whole perverted, weird ideology, and the hormones that people are taking, and the empty promises, it has destroyed a lot of people's lives. It's unfortunately, I think it's going to destroy a lot more people's lives. Right now, 1 in 5 Gen Z people identify as some part of LGBTQ plus. 1 in 5, 20%. But here's the thing. Some of the mass shootings, and particularly Charlie Kirk's assassination, has caused people to hit the brakes and stop and go, wait a second, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
A lot of people who are liberals, progressives, and people who are not conservatives, not MAGA, have had a very difficult time seeing their friends celebrate the assassination of a nice guy who was going on college campuses and having adult discussions with college students.
Mm-hmm.
It has caused a kind of an earthquake in the religious and political ecosystems, and as a lot of people have observed, particularly Charlie's widow said, "You have no idea what you've unleashed."
Yeah.
And it's not just the spiritual revival that is happening. Churches are being filled, lots of new baptisms, new people coming to the Lord, which is all great. There's also an intellectual awakening that's happening. And people are starting to get shaken out of their delusion. They're coming out of the darkness, coming out of the fog. And so people like you and I, and anyone who's on social media, we need to do whatever we can to gently help these people understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Not by shoving the Frazzle Drip video in their face and saying, "Hey, you want to see how horrible this is? You got to watch this video." That's probably not the best way to introduce people to the red pill. I think it's always best to meet people where they're at. What do they know? What do they suspect? Open-ended questions. Hey, have you ever heard of this person and this thing? Have you ever considered this?
Mm-hmm.
What do you believe about this particular situation? And are you aware of some other facts that go with it? Open-ended questions are a really good way to get people who are on the fence, who are starting to question their beliefs. That is a good way. And open-ended questions. Ask someone a provoking question.
Yeah.
Hey, have you ever listened to a video of Charlie Kirk on a campus talking with high school or college kids
Hmm.
about various issues? And if they say no, say, you know what? Go on YouTube and start watching these videos, and
Hmm.
come back to me and let me know what you think of his presentation and his approach to
Yeah.
people. Because what they'll do is, if they had a view of Charlie Kirk as a hateful, racist, misogynist, whatever, and they see him being respectful and laughing and
Yeah.
just answering people's questions with logic and good sound reasoning, they may come away with a different view of things. And that's what a lot of people are
Hmm.
doing. They're like, I'm I'm changing my views on this
Yeah.
whole. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's very interesting to watch all of this happen. And
Yeah.
we all have the ability to be participants in this change that is happening, the spiritual change, the
Yeah.
educational awakening. Denise always calls it the greatest awakening. We're in the middle of it. We're in the middle of the
Hmm.
greatest awakening
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah. It's interesting that you're saying that, because it's really such a common sense approach, and it's very much what Charlie did. If you watch his videos on the college campuses, he was often just asking questions, right? If somebody came in making a proclamation about something that they had assumed was his position on something, he would turn it around and say, okay, give me an example of when anything that I said that was racist. Give me an example of something that I said that was misogynist. Give me an example, right? And then a lot of times too, people would say that he had an advantage, and he would say, well, okay, I'm sitting here with no notes, and I'm debating you, and you have your phone, and you have 10 people around you, and why not go get your professors if you think that what I'm saying is wrong? And so, he would really challenge people, but in a very civil and kind way, which I thought was so good and so effective. And it was really interesting, to watch some of these kids just getting stuck in their confirmation bias, like they just no words. But the good thing I think about him, is that he had so much grace to help them through. Like, he never said, see, I told you so. See. The only time I ever saw him do that was when there was one kid that came and proclaimed that he had been racially and sexually attacked, I think like 4 times in one night. Did you see that one?
No.
And Charlie discerned very quickly the lying spirit on this kid. And he called him out, and he said, so, when did you notify the police? Who did you notify? Are there any videos? Like, he just boom, 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 boom. And he really just let him have it. And he said, we're going to follow up on this, and we're actually going to, we're going to find out if you're telling the truth, because I know you're lying. And when it does happen, you're going to be faced with a civil suit for maligning this institution and calling everybody here racist. I mean, he was just like on it. And that's the only time I've ever seen him do that. But it was like, it's important that he did that, because so many of us have been so reluctant to call out the lies and to stand for truth. And that was a moment where that needed to be done, because we have acquiesced, and we've been so afraid and so gaslit into saying that everything that we do is racist, and that if we disagree with a person with a different color skin, we're racist. I mean, back and forth. And the reason that he wasn't afraid is because he knew that he had the truth on his side. And so when you have the truth, you don't need to be afraid. And I mean,
Right.
you know that, I know that. I mean, I was banging that drum nonstop during COVID, and begging people to stand up with me, and to walk into places and proclaim the truth, which meant that you had to do it with your face uncovered. And so, I think that what happened to Charlie should be a very sobering call to all of us to stand on truth, because if we don't, we have no nation left. And I think this is there's no gray area now. You know, there's people who speak the truth, and there's people who want to kill you for speaking the truth.
Yeah, I think that's true. As our culture has been walking further and further into darkness,
Hmm.
into spiritual bondage, deception, and lies, all these different ideological views that are being pushed on us and our kids. Yeah, there comes a point where you have to be willing to stand up and say, I'm just calling BS.
Yeah.
This isn't gonna fly.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so
I mean, we're past the point where people, you don't have the luxury of saying, oh, I don't want to make people uncomfortable, or I don't want to make a scene, because really what you're saying when you do that is that you don't want to be uncomfortable. Let's just be real, right? You don't want to draw attention to
it's
yourself.
it's people pleasing.
Yeah, it is. It is. And
Don't want
yeah,
to cause a controversy. Don't want people to hate me.
right.
If I don't say anything offensive, they might like me. They might not call me names. It'll be easier for me if I don't say anything, if
Yeah.
I don't stand up.
Yeah.
That's people pleasing. And
Hmm.
that's actually um, coming under the control of a demonic spirit when
Yes.
uh,
Yes.
when you act that way.
And the result of that is, this is like when parents just let their kids throw tantrums all the time, and they don't want to discipline them. And the cliche is, right, your kids aren't your friends, you're not their friend. But as a nation, especially as Christians, we have really allowed people who don't understand truth to throw tantrums and get away with it. And so now they're in the find out phase of this operation, because now they're not getting away with it. And so, for example, we see these videos of the people getting like bodied by the ICE agents, and I could watch those. Like I just want to put them on repeat, because not because I am glorifying violence, but because I'm actually happy to see consequences. Because they've gotten away with it for so long. I mean, the summer of 2020, these people were just attacking our federal officers and our federal buildings, and getting away with it just with impunity. And now that's not happening, and they're big mad because they've been getting away with it for so long.
They're like very spoiled children who have
Hmm.
had the DOJ and the FBI and all the federal agencies and all of the lawfare or legal firms on their side, and they figured they could get away with it, do whatever they want, and there's never going to be consequences. And now they're finding out there are going to be consequences for your bad behavior, because
Yeah.
we have Kash Patel at FBI. We've
Yeah.
got, we've got Tulsi at ODNI, who's putting out the information. Marco Rubio shut down all the funding for all the NGOs that were funneling all the money
Yeah.
to do the lawfare against conservatives,
Yeah.
and to support Antifa and all the little terrorist groups out there. All of that funding is drying up. George Soros is now under investigation, and all of his organizations. Um, Antifa, domestic terror group, and if Trump ever designates them a foreign terrorist group, then they're going to have to deal with the military. All of their protection is being taken away, and they're acting like spoiled little 3-year-old children, throwing temper tantrums because they realize it's coming to an end, and it is coming to an end. Trump's people are just hitting on all cylinders in every agency, and I love it.
Yes, I think so too. And I think this is a good time to remind people, when it comes to what is happening at the level of these things. I want to caution people from going down rabbit trails of trying to second guess what Cash is doing, why he's not doing certain things, why he's doing certain things. It's astonishing to me, but not really. Um, because I think some people just like to waste time and they like to waste your time. But it's, there's so many crazy, nutty conspiracy nut job things happening right now. And I'm annoyed with it. And I think that people don't understand that you're being played and that we are in fifth generation warfare, which is information war. And I think that people still don't understand that just because somebody has MAGA in their profile or an American flag in their profile, or they say they're a veteran or whatever it is, please understand that those people in many cases are sent here to divide and distract. And so I really want people to approach this time with prayer, with discernment. Ask the Lord for wisdom. He will give you wisdom if you ask for it, because whenever anything like this happens, there are always opportunists who come out of the woodwork to string you along and to to divide. The enemy, I'm talking spiritual and in real life, would like nothing more than to fracture the patriot base in this country, to confuse people, to get you to a place where you can never ever accept what happened to Charlie Kirk. I mean, there are people who come into my timeline telling me, oh, it's all fake. He's still alive. Like crazy stuff. That is so disrespectful to his widow and his children. Let the dead bury the dead. And please just stop. Focus on the Lord, focus on the word of God, focus on what God wants going forward with this nation, because as America goes, so goes the world. And if you're going to get wound up and wrapped up in all of this nonsense, then you are wasting time. You are not moving in the highest and best good of what God has for your life. And I mean that in the most loving way possible. Stop wasting time.
I have something to add to that.
Please do.
I have been inundated in my timeline and in chat groups with people who insist that there is a cover-up of how Charlie Kirk was really murdered, and that the suspect that is in custody is a patsy. And what I've discerned from the people who are pushing this narrative, there's two reasons why people are pushing this narrative. One of them is some of this is being done by shills who are just anti-Trump, anti-administration, and they want to throw shade on everything that Trump does.
Yeah.
That's one group of people. The other group is people who are supportive of President Trump. They're MAGA, but they've been programmed to think a certain way about assassinations and FBI investigations of assassinations. They have been programmed to think every assassination investigated by the FBI is a cover-up, and everyone they put forward as a suspect is a patsy. That's just their way of thinking.
Yeah.
They've been trained to think that way ever since JFK Jr. and Martin Luther King and Bobby Kennedy and all the assassinations. And now they automatically assume the FBI is lying to us. We're not getting the full story. Something else happened. This guy's a patsy. That's just the way they think. And that is not critical thinking. You're literally using programmed thinking. Mm-hmm. Programmed thinking is brainwashing. You have been brainwashed to look at every instance of an assassination exactly the same way and come to the same conclusions, because that's always the way it has to be. And you're not even evaluating evidence objectively. You're just reflexively saying, oh, this is another cover-up. It's always going to be a cover-up. FBI is always going to lie to us. And here's the problem with that situation. If James Comey or Chris Wray was the FBI director, I would say, you know what? Maybe we have a reason to be suspicious. But Kash Patel is the FBI director.
Yeah.
And Kash has been so transparent, putting out all this information, the testimony, the confessions to the parents, the text messages. He has been as transparent as anyone could ever be on an investigation. He's putting out all the information they can legally put out to help people understand why they believe they've got the suspect. And a lot of people are just like, no, I can't hear you. It's a cover up. It's a patsy. And they just will not look at the evidence. And that's unfortunate. But like I said, some people are just programmed. They're programmed to think a certain way. And I would simply ask you, if you're a Q follower, what did Q tell us? Q told us our job is to think for ourselves, to reason for ourselves, to investigate and think rationally, not to think in programmed ways of thinking. We have to think logically and evaluate things objectively and set aside your confirmation bias once in a while and question your confirmation bias. I have confirmation bias about a lot of things. And if I see a narrative that confirms my bias, I question that narrative more than any other, because that is how people push a narrative that you just accept without digging into it. If it goes along with your confirmation bias, you're just going to accept it and not question it. Anything that confirms your bias, you should question more than any other issue. You should dig into that and see, does it really hold water? Anyway, I'm done. I'll land my plane there. But
that's so good. And that's where I think an understanding of the information warfare comes in, because it is not hard for people who are trained and adept at the brainwashing to just, put a hook out and reel you in if you have that confirmation bias. And this is where my late friend Boone Cutler, a lot of my listeners have seen him here on the show. He sadly passed away a couple of days ago. But he always said, he taught us, protect your mind, control your emotions. And he co-authored the book on fifth generation warfare with General Flynn. And so this is key right now. And if you haven't read that book on fifth generation warfare, this is a good time to do it, because that's what's happening right now. Your emotions are being dragged into a very bad place, and people who are adept at this are capitalizing on your emotions and doing that. And they're capitalizing on what Dave explained, the brainwashing that people have had over all of this time to look at every single event that it should have been investigated by the FBI as a conspiracy and a fake, and that everybody's a patsy. We have to be better than that. We have to think for ourselves, and that's hopefully, I think a lot of you do, but I think, from what I've seen, there's still people that are very susceptible to this. So please take some time to learn to think objectively and take your emotions out of it. Because, it's been intense. It's easy to fall prey to this when you're in an emotional state, a heightened emotional state. But the people that want you to fall prey to it capitalize on that. They know absolutely where you are emotionally and how to pull you in. It's like a type of abuse. It's like a type of emotional abuse. So think about relationships that you know of where that happens. This is just on a big global scale that people are doing that.
Yeah. Let me point out one more thing.
Yeah.
There are so many investigations going on right now by the FBI, and by the Department of Justice. And so you could just start, listing all the investigations that are going on. They're looking into money laundering related to Ukraine. They're looking into money laundering having to do with all these NGOs that the State Department is funding. They're looking into now they're looking into Antifa and its funding. They're looking into Spygate, Comey, Clapper, Brennan, Rice, Jarrett, Obama, all the Spygate crooks. They're looking at a lot of high-level criminal activities.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, they're investigating the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And there is a large group of people who want you not to trust Kash Patel and the FBI. When it comes to all these other issues, they don't want you to trust the FBI investigation. So what do? They get you to question the integrity of Kash and Dan Bongino in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And then once they get you to think, oh, Kash and Bongino, they definitely it's a cover-up. They're going to undermine your confidence in FBI leadership so that you will not believe and not support the prosecution of Clapper and Obama and Comey and Brennan and all those other guys. If you let them move you away from having some trust in our DOJ and FBI, they're going to sabotage your ability to support Trump in any of this stuff. So you should be very careful what you buy into and what narratives you believe.
I think that's a really good observation. One of the things that I try to apply to any of these types of situations is I always ask, what am I being sold? What am I being told? And who benefits?
And who benefits?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that's a good observation. And I mean, one of the things, of course, that Q taught us was to look deeper in some things that had been taken at face value. And so there is that element. Nobody is saying that we should go back to blind trust without any questioning. That's not what anybody's saying. But at some point, we have to move out of confirmation bias and move into more critical thinking. And sometimes, one of the things that Sam tells us when it comes to, bad actors and things that go wrong, he said, don't attribute to malice what could be explained by just plain incompetency or laziness. Sometimes we're very quick to apply malice, to assume malice when really it's just bad management or bad work ethic or sloppiness.
I think Pam Bondi is a good example of that.
What do you mean?
You know exactly what I mean, because you had 3 seconds to think about it. And you're like, oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Pam Bondi is not a very articulate speaker. And she's just about as bad when it comes to putting out text in tweets. I don't know what her mental, disconnect is, but she's not a good communicator. And because she's not a good communicator, a lot of people have assigned malicious motives to her that I don't think are valid.
Yeah.
That's an example.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, we do have to remember, Judy on Rumble is making a valid comment here. She says, I suspect there's still elements within the FBI that need weeded out. Absolutely. In all of the intelligence community, that's for sure.
I'm going to bring up one thing real quick.
Mm-hmm.
There is a rumor going around on the internet about
rumors on the internet
about when Netanyahu came to visit Trump, that the Secret Service found listening devices in some of the vehicles. The Secret Service agents found this stuff. Okay, so that's a narrative that's being spread. Well, I just want to remind you, we still have deep state operatives in the Secret Service that are being weeded out, and in the FBI and in DOJ and CIA. There are still all kinds of untrustworthy people in all these agencies. So it wouldn't be impossible for bad actors in the Secret Service to plant devices inside vehicles and blame Israel for it. I'm not saying that happened. I don't know what happened, but always think that there is more than one possible reason or explanation for a particular event.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. And I mean, I think because a great percentage of people are blinded by Trump derangement syndrome, it's never a bad idea to ask, who could be doing this to try to hurt Trump? That's
Right.
always an important consideration.
Who benefits?
Exactly. What am I being told? What am I being sold? And who benefits? And how do they benefit? So I think that's really important. And um, we need more than ever to have critical thinking. And Trump is making so many, he has so many victories. He's making so many inroads, right? It's incredible. I mean,
He's blowing up narco terrorist boats on a daily basis now. Like, what the
I
heck is
know.
up with that?
I know. So good. So
Holy
good.
moly.
Yeah. And one thing that may have gone unnoticed with one of Trump's accomplishments is that he just imposed a fee on the H-1B
H-1B
visa. Yeah. So my friend Kevin Lynn, he's runs Tech Workers of America, and so he's been lobbying for this for so
Yeah.
long, and he's very excited. Now there's some loopholes in it. So if anybody can get me Howard Lutnick's number, I'm very serious about that. We need to get in touch with him because there's some things that really need to be fixed with this so that they can't exploit the loopholes. But it's a really good start.
Well, it doesn't go into effect until January.
Right.
And
right.
I'm sure they'll be fine tuning
so many,
closing some of the loopholes. But this is interesting because this is one of the issues that actually was teed up by a very popular MAGA influencer and his operatives to divide MAGA, specifically with Elon and Vivek Ramaswamy. And there was this big kerfuffle on social media right after Trump got into the White House, probably, I think, April-ish, where Vivek suddenly went away and Elon nearly got nuked out of the White House because of their stance on the H-1B visa thing.
Yeah.
That was a planned operation to discredit people. And it was planned by a very well-known MAGA influencer who I'm not going to name, but if you know who they are, you know who they are. And this is what they do. They come in and they cause division within MAGA. And I'm really glad to see that that Lutnick and Trump's people were able to address this issue that was a real hotbed of controversy for about 3 or 4 weeks. And it's going to potentially make a lot of money for a country. It'll drastically reduce the number of people coming in and abusing the visa system. I think it's great.
I think so too. And I mean, really, it's obviously, on its face, it looks like it's a fundraising move, to try to bring in more revenue for the country, but it's also a deterrent. That's really what it is, because
it's twofold. It makes the country money, and it's a deterrent to abuse of the visa system. It's Trump is a brilliant businessman, and he's actually trying to maybe make I'm not saying make government profitable, but if we can start chipping away at $37 trillion in debt, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, no, absolutely. Yeah. So, but I think it'll be interesting. And I think I definitely urge people to keep an eye on this issue. There's some things that are happening behind the scenes that I'm not at liberty to talk about right now. But I think that let's just suffice it to say that we are definitely in a climate that is favorable to fixing this issue, and to addressing it in a much more much more aggressively than has been done even in the first Trump administration. So please pray for the people who are behind this, who are working on legislation, because it does have a potential not only to bring more revenue into the country, but bottom line to save American jobs and to get those jobs away from foreign workers and back into the homes and the families that actually need it, especially in the STEM area and fields and the technology fields. So really keep that in your prayers. It's not really something that's as exciting to look at and to think about, but it's critical for the future of our country to have American jobs back in American homes. So we really just pray for the people that are behind this. There's a lot going on, a lot of horse trading, a lot of stuff that we're just not aware of, but it's important and it's really big. So, yeah.
Cool.
Yep. Yeah. It's exciting.
Hey,
What?
are you gonna eventually tell people that they should have bought gold and silver like 6 or 7 months ago? Oh my gosh.
Well, I'm okay. I'm just a little humble brag here. I was stacking silver a while back.
Years ago.
Yeah. So not that you can't get more, but I think it's actually still going to go up more. I do.
Oh, silver is still dirt cheap.
Yeah.
People ask me like, what's your deal with silver? I'm like, well, God started speaking to me about buying silver in 2010.
Yeah.
That's when we first got into silver.
Yeah.
And we actually, there's a funny story. When Denise and I still lived in Olympia, Washington, so that was 2010.
Mm-hmm.
God gave me a series of dreams about buying silver. And I was trying to convince Denise, like, look, we need to take this cash and put it in silver. She's like, I don't know. I'm not feeling it. I'm like, look, trust me. Like, we just need to buy silver. So she let me take our savings and put it in silver. And I think we bought silver at around $16 an ounce or something.
Oh, yeah.
Back in 2010. Now, here's what happened. We moved here to Phoenix in 2011. And we wanted to buy a house. And we had this money as a down payment. And when we went to cash out the silver, we cashed it out for $47 an ounce. That was the last time silver was that high in 2011.
Yeah.
We cashed it out at $47 an ounce, having paid $16 an ounce for it. We had a massive windfall profit in the course of about a year and use it as a down payment for our house. And then the price of silver crashed like 3 weeks after we sold it.
Amazing.
It went back to like $20. And Denise is like, I can't believe what just happened. I'm like, well, that's God. But I think silver is still relatively cheap. It's still, I think the gold to silver ratio right now is like 85 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
Historically, over the course of 4,000 years of history, the historic ratio of gold to silver is 16 to 1. 16 ounces of silver is roughly equivalent to 1 ounce of gold. It's always usually been a 16 to 1 ratio.
Okay.
The silver market got massively manipulated over the last 10 or 15 years, which is why silver has stayed really low and gold has gone up. And silver is going to catch up. So anyway.
Yeah, I think so. I'm actually putting a link up on the screen and in the chat because we do have a way for people to get a gold or silver IRA. And we have a free guide. So if you follow the link up here, you can go find it. Now, that's not for everybody. Some people just want to go out and spend some, trade in some dollars for physical gold and silver. And that's what Dave is talking about. But it is possible if you have an IRA and you want to direct your IRA to put that money into the gold and silver, or if you have some retirement money, to move some of that into physical gold and or silver. So there is a guide that you can get through my channel here. I put it in the chat and I put it up on the screen here so you can look at it.
I don't see anything on the screen.
You don't see it on the lower third?
Oh, no, there's something down in the very lower, in the footer. There's a link there, but it's not on the screen itself.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I guess it looks different from where I am. Can people see it? I put it in the chat too, so you can
there's
click.
A link. It's scrolling across the bottom.
Okay, yeah, you can click directly on that, and so you can work with those guys. But just take a look. I'm not selling any gold and silver. I'm referring you to that, and I'm not. This is not investment advice. This is what we're seeing.
That's one way to buy gold and silver, and I'm going to say this because I get this question all the time.
Yeah.
You can have a silver or gold IRA, but if you just have cash and you want to buy silver, you don't have to go online and have it shipped to you and all this other stuff. Just go to a local coin shop.
Yes.
And you can buy. I buy silver rounds. A round is a minted coin. It's 1 ounce of silver. They're usually a couple of bucks over the spot price.
Mm-hmm. Silver Eagle is a good example. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah, a silver eagle and a silver maple. So the U.S. Mint produces, or they used to produce, silver eagles. I don't even know if they're producing them anymore. I think they are, but not a lot of them. There's a high premium on silver eagles. Canada, the Canadian Mint mints silver maples. The premium on those is going to be $7 or $8 or $9 over spot price. So they're not a good deal for just buying bulk silver. But if you want to buy, silver for, for preparedness or for investing, you can just buy silver rounds. And they're usually a couple bucks over spot price. Buy them, put them under your mattress at the house. And hey, this is not investment advice. I'm not a qualified investment advisor. But I think silver has a long way to go before.
Yes. I'm going to share my screen here. I actually, if anybody is in Central Virginia and you're looking for what Dave is talking about, a local dealer, we have friends who are patriots who you can go to. I'm going to put it right up here on the screen. Okay. So you can see this. It's Jefferson Coin. Okay. I've dealt with these guys for years. Actually just ran into one of them the other day. They're very much patriots and they do ship. But you can go and they have a storefront right in Central Virginia. So Jefferson Coin, it's jcsgold.com. Tell them Mary Grace sent you. I don't have an affiliate partnership with them. They're just friends, and they've been very fair, very honest. So if this is all new to you, and you don't know what to do, and you're not sure about walking into someplace, this is legit. The number is right up there on the screen, and you can go talk to them. The younger. It's two generations. The younger guy, his name is Gil, Gil. So yeah, just jump in there, go talk to them. They will steer you right. Okay. It also, if you have things to sell, they also buy gold and silver. So people don't realize that if you have little scraps of gold laying around, you'd be amazed at how much it's worth. So
Denise was telling me the other day, she's like, honey, I have so much gold. Because when she was doing jewelry making years ago, before she met me, and we're talking 20 years ago, she's got all kinds of gold shavings, filings, pieces of gold for jewelry, silver. She's like, that stuff is probably worth a lot of money right now.
It is. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Go through it.
Yeah. And people don't realize, like, if you go through, ladies, if you go through your jewelry box and you have earring backs, especially, if you're my age and you had stuff from the 80s or like the Ada bead necklaces and things like that. That's real gold usually. So don't throw it away. Don't send it to the Goodwill. Um, take it down to the gold place and either trade it for coins or bullion or silver or whatever, or just hold on to it for when you want to have gold. They'll test it for you too.
I just want to say one more thing. Why do I keep, if you follow me on Telegram or X, you see me posting the spot price of gold, the spot price of silver. Well, it's because God has been telling me for years that silver is going to be a great investment. Yes, it went nowhere for many years. It was just flat. And now it's finally taking off. This year, 2025, silver is the second best performing asset class among all assets right now. The only thing that is better than silver is platinum, believe it or not. Platinum has had a 54% increase year to date. Silver is at about 49% increase, and gold is at about 43%. Platinum, silver, and gold are the three highest earning asset classes this year. Now, I don't know what's going to happen to the price in the future, but it looks to me like they're just going to keep chugging along because central banks are buying up massive amounts of gold.
Yeah.
Solar panel companies and other industrial applications for silver are massively increasing the demand for silver, which is a large reason why the price is going up. So, like I said, I'm not a qualified investment analyst. Don't complain to me if your silver investment goes down, but I think if you have a little bit of extra money, either silver or gold is a good investment.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, it's personal for everybody, right? You have to make your own decision and pray. Yeah. And then the other
Ask
thing,
God,
too,
what should you do?
I think one rule of thumb, though, is that, if you're on the edge and, you can't afford to make a mistake, like if it's the difference between putting food on the table, paying rent, it's never wise to take your last, like if you're living month to month, this is not a good plan. Okay. At that point, I would pray for God to show you ways to add a side hustle, increase your income. I mean, there's so many ways to do that. If you have a phone and or a computer nowadays, there are so many ways that you can become an at-home entrepreneur. And so I would pray for that before I would go out and, like spend my last dime, because then you're acting like a gambler.
Right. Don't invest money that you can't afford to lose. That's the number one rule.
Exactly. That was my long way of saying that. So I just, anyway, but it's, we're in such an amazing time, because really anybody with a little bit of gumption and imagination and the ability to figure out some basic things on the internet can start a business and can add extra income. And now with AI, it's even easier. I mean, it's almost impossible to fail. And I will say, I did something recently. I hired a virtual assistant, and a friend of mine runs an agency, and so I have a young woman now who is working for me, and she's like 21, maybe 22, and that girl, she's all over Chat GPT. She has been more productive for me in the last 3 weeks than I would be in like months and months. Plus, she loves doing this stuff. There's things that I put off because I don't like doing them and they're not a priority, but it's just that. So for me, that was an investment. Again, I'm not saying everybody can hire a VA. What I am saying, though, is if you have somebody who's Gen Z, who is pretty tech savvy, that is using AI, it might be good to partner with them to help you streamline some of the things that you're wanting to do. So just think that. I think it's about time. Go ahead.
As much as people, some people are afraid of AI, and I've had some dreams, quite a few dreams about AI, both highlighting some of the potential for bad things to happen and the potential for good things to happen. Like anything, I think AI is a neutral tool.
Yeah.
If it gets into the hands of evil people, it's going to be used for evil. If it is in the hands of good people,
Yeah.
it'll be used for good. I think of AI sort of like spell check. I use Microsoft Word, and Microsoft Word has this thing called spell check in it. If I misspell a word, it'll underline it and say, "Hey, dummy, you spelled this word wrong. Fix it." And what that, for me, that's a good purpose.
Yeah.
Machine learning can help you. I take all my chapters when I'm writing books and I paste them into Grammarly, and Grammarly will go through my text and highlight, oh, hey, Dave, you're using the passive voice here. Would you like to rewrite
Mhm.
this in the active voice? Spelling, grammar, punctuation, right? That's machine learning. It can help you be more productive and do better what you're doing. But if you happen to be an evil person who wants to figure out how to build a bomb, you can go into ChatGPT, and ChatGPT will tell you how to build a bomb.
Yeah.
It is a tool that can be used for either good or evil, and I find it very helpful. I had an email this morning from a guy. He's I saw he's read my Meshtastic book, and he has a question in this chapter about something I wrote about Meshtastic, and he's using it for amateur radio, and he's asking me about, well, you said it's 100 megahertz, but the setting is 125 megahertz, and that's outside, our legal. Like, is there a workaround? And I'm like, oh hell, like I don't even really know what the answer. Wait a minute, I literally typed his question into Chat GPT, and it just gave me this really long, complete,
Yeah.
correct answer. I copied and pasted it into the email, and I sent it back to him and said, here's what ChatGPT said. And
Yeah.
it saved me a lot of time having to do research and all this other stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah.
don't be afraid of AI, but just realize, think of it like, how can AI help me do what I'm doing?
Mhm.
You'd be surprised how much AI can help you if you
Mhm.
know how to write a good prompt. It's all about
Yeah.
writing good prompts.
Yes, and there are actually courses, there are YouTube videos and Rumble videos that teach you how to use AI effectively. Like one thing that my assistant did, which was pretty cool, is that I had found a YouTube video that I thought would be helpful in getting me to the next project that I want to launch as a new business. And it was about a 45-minute video. Now, I've listened to the video. However, some of the things in the video were things that it would have a bigger learning curve for me. So I sent it to my assistant. I said, please put this into Chat GPT and get a bullet point summary, get a list of all the resources recommended. And then, if you think that this is the best way forward for us, then start on the plan, right? And then, but the crazy thing is, she did that, and then she started, implementing the plan, and there were some things that were recommended by the instructor that were paid software and things like that. And I asked her, I asked my assistant, do you think that we need this? She goes, no, no, no. I already replicated that using Chat GPT. She's like, I already created my own system using Chat GPT. So this is what I'm saying. Like, if you know how to leverage it, it's just like the internet. I mean, people thought the whole world was going to implode when the internet started to get big. And yet here we are, we're talking to you right now because of the internet. But at the same time, there's this thing called the dark web, where there's really sinister, evil things happening on the internet. And again, it's a tool, just like any other tool. A kitchen knife, a gun, anything like that can be used. It can be used to provide for your family. It can be used to remove somebody's from their family. right? It's just anything can be used for good or evil. And that's where we want to have perspective.
Right.
Yeah. So, hey, we need to take a quick break. So
All right.
this is where we find out about sponsors, things like that.
Pay some bills.
Yeah, that's right. Keep the show running. I'm going to take Dave off screen for just a second. It's also a chance maybe to refresh your beverage or take care of other personal needs. Don't give us the information, just take care of it. And but keep your volume up so we can talk while you're gone. So Dave's going to go off screen and we'll be right back. One of the things I want people to know is that we're a listener supported show. So whenever you make a purchase or do anything with any of our sponsors and affiliate links, then we actually get a commission here on the show. One of our favorite affiliate partners is our friends over at griddownchowdown.com. We love these guys. They have a wonderful product. This is freeze dried beef. This is amazing. This is grass fed, grass finished, grown right in the American heartland. Whenever you buy this, not only are you getting a high quality product for your family, but you're helping to save American farms and ranches. And let me put the code up here so that you can purchase this. This is great because they have package deals, they have monthly subscriptions, and you can scan the code or you can go directly to griddownchowdown.com and make a purchase. They have subscriptions. They also have what do you call it? Burger patties. They have pre-made burger patties. So if you're really super like lazy and you just want the patties made for you, they have them, which I think is great. And they're going to be, this is a family-run business. So when you order from them, please don't expect overnight turnaround. That's not how they operate. They are, doing amazing things. Just an incredible company. I've met these guys. I've had them on the show. Griddownchowdown.com, promo code Mary Grace. The other company that we're very proud to work with is our friends over at MyPillow, and that is Mike Lindell. Let me get the code up here. MyPillow.com, promo code Mary Grace. This is just an incredible company. America first, employs Americans. We do get a percentage every time you buy from them. We love their sheets, towels, pillows, dog beds. It's starting to get colder. Fall is here. And so, it's getting to be sweater weather. And that means you're going to need your slippers, your robes, your pajamas. They have all of that at MyPillow. And it's a fantastic company. America first. Mike Lindell is a patriot that we would all want to emulate. So go to mypillow.com, use promo code Mary Grace. Another thing that I want to emphasize here for you today is my store, my supplement store. We have the Mary Grace Essentials, which is you can find it on my website, but this is really important because how many times have you seen lately that the supplements that you may be buying on places like Amazon or Walmart or CVS are less than optimal? The purity is in question. Some of them are counterfeit. These counterfeit companies will slap a label on something to make it look real, but it's not. There's fillers and maybe toxic substances in these supplements. So we actually have a wellness store where you can get your essentials. It's always free shipping, 10% off for new customers, and you can do subscribe and save. And that's going to be over at marygracewellness.gethealthy.store. And you can also find that link on my website at marygracemedia.com. We work directly with the manufacturers. Everything that we have is sourced directly from the companies. So Thorne, Nutritional Frontiers, I always forget the brands, but all of the really high quality brands that you are used to buying, they're right there at my store. And we do get a little commission when you buy those. And so we're very, very happy to be partnering with these companies. And I also put the link up there. It's right on the screen. You can see where we're partnering with Augusta Gold and Silver. Since we've been talking about gold and silver today, definitely check that out so that you can look into adding that to your portfolio. I think that's it. We're going to bring Dave back here. And anytime anybody has any questions, please contact me over at my email address. That's info@marygracemedia.com. And so I'll put my website up here too. The links for the things that we're talking about here are right up there on my website. You can just go to the shopping tab. Let's get Dave back in here, and we will see what we can talk about from here on out. Dave has some things that he's got up for sale too, and we're gonna make. I can't wait to make my Amazon link store uh, link for all of Dave's books.
You're so excited. I mean, is it just that easy to get you all wound up and
Yes,
ready to
I'll
go?
tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because I've been trying to get my Amazon store up. I got invited to the influencer program like a year ago. And then I tried doing it. I clicked and I was like, yay, yay. And then it never worked. And I thought, this is like a rug pull. But it was, it was actually, I know this is going to be hard for people to believe, but it was a Facebook glitch. I know. I know. And I finally figured it out because somebody else that I follow on X announced that he put up his Amazon store. And I was like, I have a really big following on Facebook. Why are they not accepting me? I thought it may be a political thing too, but it turns out I started to research it a little more. And I found an old, like a Reddit thread, and they explained what was going wrong, and it was a glitch. I had to unlink something and then link it back, and then boom, you're here, you're in. That's why I'm so excited,
Okay.
because I've been trying to do this, and I got it, and it's so easy. It's so easy for me to put stuff up there.
Right. Cool.
I made this list of carnivore diet essentials right there. I made it yesterday. It's right there. Anybody who's thinking about doing carnivore, I don't have meat on there, but the tallow and sea salt and things like that. Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Right. Awesome.
So, all right, now let's move on.
Moving along.
Yeah, you know what? I want to talk about. We talked a little bit about DOJ. Couple things. Trump still doesn't have a national security advisor. I know that Marco Rubio is acting national security advisor, but Marco Rubio might have to take Jimmy Kimmel's place. So he's a busy guy. So
he wears many hats.
Who's Trump going to get? And then I also want to talk about Ed Martin, because he's sort of one of those quiet, very productive people in the DOJ, and Harmeet Dillon too is doing some amazing work.
Oh, Harmeet Dillon, holy cats!
She catches everything.
If you're not following that woman on X, follow both her private and her DOJ account. She's trolling these lefty nut job people, and she'll just post a letter that she sent to them saying, "Oh yeah, if you think you're going to get away with violating the First Amendment rights of conservatives on your university, think again." She's doing great work, and she's very has a great attitude about what she's doing. She's a happy warrior, I think.
Yeah, she is. And I mean, it's amazing how she catches pretty much like everything on X, and people without even having to mention her,
Yeah, she has a very small staff. They actually downsized the Civil Rights Division massively, but they're still doing great work.
Yeah, and she's doing something, the thing about Harmeet is she's very human, right? She shares her hobbies and stuff. So she knits. She's a prolific knitter.
Projects out there.
And she grows dahlias. But the funny thing is she apparently, I guess, I don't know how she didn't know that knitting is that the knitting community is highly politicized. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
I did. I knew that. Well, apparently she didn't. And she stumbled upon a corner of the knitting world that shocked even her.
Did she kick the hornet's nest by accident?
Maybe. I don't know. But pray for her, because these people have knitting needles, And so
it's just could impale you with a knitting needle.
Yeah, but they have these online communities, and it's been, I mean, it's like this communo Marxist world that
Wow,
is
who would have known that?
I know, and I think I don't know if it's all of the fiber arts community, which it could well be, but I think that, uh, yeah, I mean, just
Wow.
who, yeah, but poor Harmeet, I kind of felt bad for her because I was like, it seems like you would have known that. I mean, you're a knitter, like
Yeah,
I
you would
knew
think
that,
so.
and I'm not a knitter, but yeah,
You would think so. So
yeah.
what about Ed Martin?
So Ed Martin, I mean, he's all over the place. And he has been going after some of the people who, tried to send Trump to prison for however long, for 700 years.
Yeah,
And
they may be wishing they had let him be U.S. attorney rather than having all these other jobs that Trump gave him.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And so, I mean,
Oh
he's
man.
out. Like, there was a video of him a little over a month ago standing outside of Big Tish's townhouse that she was claiming. Was it Tish James? Is that the one, or was it
Yeah.
the no? Or was it the lady on the Federal Reserve Board? No,
Oh,
it was
Lisa
Tish
Cook.
James. Yeah, it was one of them. They both have committed mortgage fraud,
No, yeah, it
apparently,
was Lisa Cook.
allegedly. Yeah,
Lisa
but he's
Cook.
standing out there in his trench coat like Columbo, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, he's really, and then he posts these photos of people that he's just kind of hanging out with.
Good morning. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, America. How are you? And so I think he's somebody that people need to be following. If you're not following Eagle Ed Martin, I recommend that you do, because there's a lot happening. So for the Nothing Is Happening crowd, you're not following Ed Martin and you're not following Harmeet Dillon.
True. Yeah, Ed has a lot of interesting hats that he's wearing right now. He is, I think he is the head of the government weaponization section within the DOJ. He is also special prosecutor who is investigating Watermelon Head Adam Schiff and Tish James. And what else is he doing? Let's see. He's got a bunch of different things that he's working on.
Yeah.
And the thing with Adam Schiff and the special counsel investigation, that came by way of Bill Pulte.
Oh, yeah.
Who made the criminal referral on Adam Schiff and Tish James on their alleged mortgage fraud issues. And of course, when you go and start a special counsel investigation, you get to talk to that person and their attorney and say, I want your records for everything, all of your tax information.
Yeah.
Just because I'm bored and we have a whole bunch of attorneys here who have nothing to do, I want all of your emails, all your text messages, everything, all of it, and get it to my office by this Friday, or we'll have FBI agents coming to your house and knocking on your door to get it. So Adam Schiff is under investigation for everything. Everything he's ever done is now up for criminal liability, other than his participation on the January 6th committee. That's the only thing he's been pardoned for. And he's got much bigger problems than that.
I don't know if you saw Kash Patel did a quote tweet.
The watermelon slices.
Hold on, I'm gonna find it. It was so good. Here it is. Okay. Watermelon Head was disparaging Kash Patel. Just, he's out there lying, which if Watermelon Head's lips are moving, he's lying.
Did you see their exchange when Kash went into the Senate Judiciary Committee hearing? It was pretty hot.
Look, that's what Kash put up.
Yeah, all the watermelons. It was good.
So good. So good. Yeah. I don't, it's funny. The people who are saying, like, I think Kash is in over his head. Like, he looks scared. He's bit off more than he could chew. I don't think you guys understand. This guy he went into, where was it that he went to get hostages? Really, like, hostile jihadi territory.
Yes.
Like, he's put high level terrorists in jail, guys. So
he worked in DOJ in the National Security Division doing counterterrorism. That was what he did. He went and he loves that. Look, the guy plays hockey. at his age, he's on a hockey team.
Yeah.
He loves, living dangerously and going out and
Right.
doing all this, taking down terrorists and stuff. That's what he lives for. Him having the ability to go after the corrupt people in government is probably like his dream job. I think he's having a really good time doing it.
Well, and the number of people who have been the trafficking, the child traffickers that they've caught, the drug traffickers. I mean, there's a lot. He rattled off a bunch of statistics the other day in the congressional hearing. I mean, he was on fire. Like none of this, demure, no sir, yes sir. He was just like, bop, 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 bop. It was really good. And
well,
I think,
he's very familiar with Congress, having worked with Devin Nunes in the House Intel Committee. He knows the ins and outs of all this stuff. He knows the games they play. He knows how it all works.
Yeah.
So he's not like some stranger coming in, deer in the headlights thing. He knows exactly how the games work, and he knows what he can say and what he can't say. And I think he's having a good time doing this stuff, just going in there and trolling the hell out of these morons.
Yeah, because they dragged him through it. I mean, Cash has been he's been subpoenaed.
They have doxed him twice, and he's had to move. So they put him through all kinds of hell while he was on working with Devin on the House Intel Committee. This is, in case you didn't notice this, Trump has hired a whole bunch of people who were victimized by the surveillance state, the deep state, the intelligence community, whatever you want to call it. Cash was victimized by them. Tulsi Gabbard was victimized by them. There's a lot of people who have an axe to grind against the deep state. And I'm really glad Trump brought these people on board because they have extra motivation to get to the bottom of these crimes.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is not a revenge tour.
No,
this is a justice tour.
It's right. It's not about revenge. It's about you have to find people who are motivated to want to take on the swamp. And the motivation for Tulsi Gabbard is she was, followed around by air marshals everywhere she went, and humiliated, embarrassed every time she got on an airplane because because she dared to push back on some narratives. Cash, same thing. It's not revenge, but these people have motives to bring justice and accountability to this corrupt bureaucracy.
That's right. Yes, absolutely. I think let's go back to NSA. I want to talk about that a little bit because that position is still open.
Yep.
What do you think is happening with that? People are pushing for General Flynn to be in that role. I mean, he's a high level intel guy. So it seems like General Flynn is doing something because he's in DC a lot. But what is it? What is he doing? What's happening? What do you think?
I have an unpopular opinion.
Okay.
And I don't know how much of it I want to share. So I guess I'll just say this. I think if General Flynn were going to come back into the Trump administration, it would have happened already. Especially with National Security Advisor position being open. The problem is with the National Security Advisor, it's one of the only positions that doesn't require congressional approval. The president gets to pick the National Security Advisor, and they don't have to get permission from Congress. Pick whoever they want. So Trump could just say, hey, Flynn, come on in. You're my National Security Advisor. He hasn't done that. And that, in my mind, that is a question. Why hasn't he? If Flynn was going to come in, it's the obvious position that he's qualified for. He's already done it. But he's got this issue where he did it, and they put him through hell and the Mueller investigation and everything else, and they, bankrupted him doing it. I guess my suspicion is there's a reason why Trump doesn't want to put General Flynn in that position. I don't know what that reason is. I'm not going to speculate. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It just seems to me like there is a reason why General Flynn has not been asked to fill that position. And I don't know what the reason is, but having said all that, General Flynn is very effective outside of the administration. He's on social media. He can speak frankly. He can talk to people. He can go on podcasts. He can do interviews. He can say a lot that a national security advisor could not say. He was in that position. He would have to be very, very tight-lipped about what he could say publicly. So there's a trade-off there. Having him on the outside, he can continue spitballing about national security, foreign policy, and we can get updates from him, and it's not coming from an official government position. I don't know what the deal is, why President Trump is having Marco fulfill all these roles, but I will tell you, for those who are surprised by what happened with Marco Rubio and Trump, there's an article that I posted in my Telegram channel. I posted it on X as well. I think I posted it the day that Trump announced he was picking Marco for Secretary of State. And people lost their minds. They're like, oh my God, he's such a rhino. He's a swamp dweller. What is Trump doing? We're going to get into wars. You can't have a rhino as Secretary of State. And I was like, guys, wait a minute. Hold up. The Marco Rubio of 2025 is not the Marco Rubio who debated Trump in 2016. What happened with Marco, and a lot of people just never realized this, Marco became a big fan of President Trump's. Between 2016 and 2023-ish, Marco would come over and have dinner with Trump, Melania, and they became very close friends. And Marco came to highly respect President Trump and came over to seeing his way a lot of issues. Trump had a huge influence on changing the way Marco saw foreign policy, national security issues, and they came to be very good friends. They were having dinner all the time. Trump saw Marco go through all these changes in his thinking. That's why Trump thought, okay, well, Marco, I have made a disciple out of Marco Rubio. Bring him on board as Secretary of State. And he and Trump have been in lockstep on everything.
That's a good, I think that's a good assessment. I mean,
so to answer your question, I think that Trump is very, very concerned about bringing someone into the administration in a highly sensitive position that he cannot absolutely 100% trust with his life. And I think that there's a very small number of people he absolutely trusts.
Dan Scavino.
and he's going to have that handful of people do as many jobs as they can. And Marco said, look, it's not really a lot of extra work for me because Secretary of State and a national security advisor, there's a huge amount of overlap in the meetings that they have to attend and the things they have to do. And he's like, it's not that big of a deal for him to do both jobs.
Put me in, coach.
Yeah.
It is interesting, but we've seen this. I think people who really have paid attention to Trump would see that Trump has done this a lot, and I've heard a lot of stories of people who were opposed to Trump, who misunderstood him, who had misconceptions and misunderstandings about him, and then completely turned around after having gotten to spend time with him and gotten to know him. Now, there is more history than that with Marco Rubio, and I'm sure that Trump had to get some things settled with him based on his past. But I think that, when Trump decides to invest in somebody, it's, you know, it's because he has good judgment, and he's a good judge of character. So, and I think too, some people are probably hearing me say that and say, no, he doesn't. What about so and so? What about so and so? Well, we have to remember that in his first administration, he had a bunch of deep state rhino holdovers who were staffing positions and advising him on his staffing. And he spent the 4 years of the Biden regime unraveling that and establishing his own base of operations and vetting system. Is it perfect? No, because there's thousands and thousands of positions that get filled in any administration. But what Dave is saying is that the positions that are the most consequential are his picks,
Right.
not
He
Reince
doesn't delegate
Priebus's.
the responsibility to,
Christie didn't get a say this time.
Chris Christie and Paul Ryan.
Yeah.
In 2016, one of the things that happened was because Trump didn't really understand how the White House works, how the staffing works, the presidential office of personnel, and all that. The RNC, and specifically Paul Ryan and his group of people, they made a deal with Trump. They said, we'll give you access to our resources, but you have to let us pick most of your staff. And they just filled it with swampy establishment, deep staters. And after having 4 years out of the White House, Trump was like, okay, we have to have all the right people in all the right places, and we have to train them. And we cannot have any of these freaking establishment nut jobs in our, and he learned. He learned from his mistakes.
Yeah. Speaking of trusted individuals, I wanted to get your thoughts on JD Vance.
I like JD.
I do too.
I like JD a lot.
Straight shooter.
Yeah, he is. He is. Good guy. I think that he is the presumptive 2028 nominee. It's his nomination to lose, I think.
I think so too. A lot of people are talking about a Vance Rubio ticket.
That would be good. Eric Trump has also said he's not ruling out running.
Eric Trump is going to be president one day. The Lord told me that. It's just a question of when, and so we'll see what happens. I mean, I think the boss is still going to have some say in that. So, we'll see, but either one would be good. I feel like I would like to see Vance at this juncture. I think that Eric will come into his own in that place. I mean, I think Barron Trump is going to be president one day, but let's just get him out of college first. But I think that I think both. I think it's the timing, and it is going to be in the Lord's timing. So very interesting. I mean, I've really grown to appreciate JD Vance and the way that he handled what happened with Charlie Kirk. That was pretty incredible. I do have one question about that, though. When Charlie Kirk was Charlie Kirk was given a dignified transfer, what's up with that?
I don't know what you mean.
So when he was brought, so when fallen soldiers are brought back from war, they are brought in by the military, and the process of doing that is called a dignified transfer.
Okay.
And my understanding, and maybe some people can weigh in on this, but when I saw that, I was a little bit taken aback. Not that I don't think that Charlie Kirk deserves great honor, but that I thought that was reserved specifically for our military. So I'm just wondering, have you noticed that?
I didn't notice that, but I did notice one thing. Somebody commented on X this morning, and I forget who it was, and I don't know if it's true, but I think that what this person said, Charlie Kirk is the first non-elected just regular citizen in the United States to ever have both the president and the vice president attend his memorial service. So there's massive respect for what Charlie Kirk has done, and the movement, his organization, his wife and family. There's some interesting stuff going on. But you know, Trump is Trump. Trump does things out of the ordinary. He doesn't play by everybody else's rules, and that's one of the reasons why we love him.
Yeah. I thought it was amazing, to see that, and to see the way that JD Vance and his wife just took charge, and yeah.
One of the things I like about JD is he has a lot of the same very grounded, down to earth, common sense values and perspective as Donald Trump. However, he's way more articulate.
Yeah, he is.
Sometimes when Trump is doing the weave and his mind is thinking ahead of his words, and he's skipping through things, and he's not connecting all the dots, and he's not being super articulate, and like, oh God, Trump, I know what you're saying, but these people that are listening, they're not going to understand what you're saying. Why don't you rephrase that?
You know what?
JD Vance will just, he's very clear, very articulate. He says exactly what he means.
Let me
you don't
just
have
say,
to read between the lines with JD Vance a whole lot.
Let me just say, the ADHD people totally get Trump. They're like, everybody, we know he's going to bring it home. I'm like, it's like, oh yeah, he's off over here, and his mind is like, he's got like 18 boxes open in there, and he's just boom, 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 and then he goes, and then, well, the answer to your question is no. And I'm just like, meanwhile, like, he's gone after this.
Minutes later.
Like, meanwhile, he's like put the laundry in, gone to the store, bought ice cream, like fed the dog, and then boom. Yeah, no, you were saying you were talking about such and such. Yeah, no, we're not doing that. I totally get him. That's why.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think JD Vance is really a good balance for Trump. He definitely is. And I think he is younger too. And I think one of the questions or the hesitations I think that a younger generation has always had in politics is electing somebody in their 70s or 80s to be president.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, well, you get literally a lifetime of experience when you elect somebody like that. You get somebody who has built companies.
You either get somebody who is so wise and so tuned in and so unflappable and so don't give a shit, and we're going to do it this way because I've lived 75 years and all this other stuff is nonsense. You either get that or you get Joe Biden, a guy who should literally be in a nursing home getting his diapers changed, and we just saw both of those in the last 5 years. It's crazy.
Yeah. Somebody's asking a question. You mentioned, President Trump and JD Vance being in the same at the service, together. That's signifies the just how special Charlie Kirk was. Somebody's just saying, why would you put the vice president and the president together? They're together a lot, guys. I mean, they're in the Oval Office together. It's just that they don't travel together. So, that's the difference. I mean, they're at the State of the Union together. They're together.
JD Vance is in on all of Trump's meetings in the White House. I mean, they're together a lot, but they don't travel together for safety.
Right. That's the distinction. That's the distinction. It's not that they don't that they're not together. And speaking of traveling together, I just want to, like, Melania, let's just bask in the beauty that is Melania for just a minute. Because she went on the state visit with Trump, or to the royal visit. Yes, to Windsor. Yeah. And they're so can we just take a moment?
Iconic. Yeah.
Yes, she's iconic. She's amazing, and she's brought so much style and grace and beauty back to the office of the First Lady. And we don't have to look at tablecloths and crazy, weird, like
Oh
hip,
my gosh. Jill
like
Biden.
awful outfits. I mean, she's just so classy and so stylish. And I so appreciate that. Such a wonderful, and she's doing wonderful things. And I loved seeing her with Princess Kate. It was just this just regular, we just have regular people running things. And I'm so happy about that. And I want to acknowledge that. And one day, I don't know if I want her to be on the fashion magazines, but they're missing out so much by dissing her. But that's okay, because she was rocking that trench coat, and she's amazing. And the color of her dress, guess what color she was wearing? It's the same as the yellow tie. It's the Q tie, the Q color.
I missed that.
You missed the yellow dress?
I did.
Dave.
I haven't been following that closely, the stuff going on in the UK and the Trump visit and whatnot.
And clearly not the fashion.
Yeah, it's not my strong suit.
Okay.
I'll be honest.
For those who have been interested in this, I will tell you there's a good account. We're just taking a diversion here.
Okay.
There's an account on X that does a running commentary on the fashion. So if you want to see it, it's called Remoulade Sauce, and it's called Remy is a Good Boy. At Remy is, here it is, right here. Take a screenshot, because this account really does a great job of going through all the fashion of our people. Okay. So I know you just have to take a minute, because we talked about Meshtastic for you. We're talking about fashion for me. So here we go. Isn't that, look, there's Tiffany. Tiffany was there, right? So we have to take a moment, because everything was just so good. Anyway, Remoulade Sauce and the First Lady. And the White House is actually, and also follow the Office of the First Lady too, because they're also featuring her in some of they're featuring her fashion. It's so good. It's so wonderful. I love it.
All right.
So that's, just saying.
You're allowed.
I know. I used to read Vogue cover to cover until they got ridiculously woke. They had the best food critic ever in there. You wouldn't think that Vogue would have a food critic, but Jeffrey Steingarten, so good. So good. But it's a waste. It's a wasteland now. The big fall fashion issue. Who's with me here? Anybody my age? Did you always look forward to the big fall fashion issue of Vogue? Raise your hand. Give me a show of hands in the chat. You know what I'm talking about. You don't, but they do.
I'll take your word for it.
Stephen Meisel, one of the best photographers ever. Just amazing. I just hope that we can come back to an era of that type of artistry and devotion to real journalism and real photography. I really want that. Okay.
We will.
Go.
Look, the woke left is imploding as we speak.
Yeah.
Their commentators on television are being taken off the air. No, not because the chairman of the FCC, who is a licensed tower climber and certified badass himself, threatened them. He lost his spot because he's not funny. They have crappy ratings. They're losing money like crazy. And the network decided to pull the plug. Now, did it happen to coincide with Mr. Brendan Carr saying, well, if you have a FCC license, you need to actually follow the rules and regulations established by the FCC, and you're not. So maybe we need to have a look at that.
What did you say? You said the Brendan Carr is licensed in what?
All right. So since you got to talk about
Okay, well, yeah.
Vogue and fashion,
Oh, he's a ham radio guy.
I get to talk about my buddy Brendan Carr, who's the chair of the FCC.
What's his call sign?
Brendan is my favorite surprise cabinet appointee for the Trump administration. Brendan is such a badass. When he first was named FCC chair, I went to his timeline and on X, and I was like, holy shit, this dude, he got licensed as a tower climber, and he was climbing with a work crew up a 2,000-foot tower to do maintenance on the lights and transmitters on this tower. And he did a video. He had a GoPro on his helmet, and he's out there doing a video of him climbing up this tower. I'm like, this guy is so badass. But as FCC chair, he is now holding the networks their feet to the fire, because it's not Disney that has a broadcast license. It is the local stations that have a FCC broadcast license. And if you have a broadcast license, you have to follow the rules, regulations, and restrictions of the FCC. And these stations have not been following the rules. They've been getting by not following rules and restrictions.
Just like all the other lefties.
All he's doing is saying, look, you're not following. You have a duty to look to provide programming that serves the best interest of your community, and you're not doing that. So you need to start considering what is in the best interest of the community.
Yeah.
And they know they're not doing it. They know that they've been violating FCC regs, and now they're getting back in line. If they don't get back in line, the FCC is going to review their license and potentially fine them or suspend their license. And so we have, but to your point, is Vogue, are these fashion mags going to come back and do what they used to do? Yes, they are.
They were fantastic.
Because they're losing money. They're losing their funding. State Department, all the slush funds through USAID and all the other agencies, the money is drying up. George Soros, his money is drying up. I suspect a lot of these cable news programs, the networks, the magazines, we know that a lot of them, the New York Times, for example, got $9 million from USAID to keep their ratty publication running because no one was buying their stupid news subscription to their newspaper. A lot of these news outlets lost funding when the slush funds at USAID dried up. And this whole media complex that has been pushing cultural Marxism, it's ending. And we're going to go into, and I might be prophesying here, we're going to go into a time of renewal. We're going to go into a revival of culture and art, performance, music, television, theater. It's all being revamped. We're going to be going through a reformation of the arts. It's coming. This current woke monstrosity is being ripped down, and you got Rick Grinnell, who is now running the Kennedy Center for the Arts, and he is at the heart of this reformation that's coming, and a lot of other people around him. It's this whole woke, crappy media, worthless magazines and TV shows that are just doing all this idiocy. It's all coming to an end, and God is going to reestablish quality fashion, music, arts, and entertainment. It's all coming. And we're going to get to watch it happen. And I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be great.
We went to the Kennedy Center a few weeks ago.
Did you?
Yeah, there was a presentation. I'm trying to think who put it on. It was CBN, and it was free. It was a film and also worship. And it was called The Revival Generation. And it was interesting because God gave me a word about the revival generation. You know that. You shared it. It was on Facebook. And so we went, and I have a picture here. I went with my dad and my another couple of friends, but it was like the perfectly beautiful day. Here we are up at the Kennedy Center. If you ever go, guys, if you go to DC, make a point of going to the Kennedy Center, even if there's nothing on, because they have an amazing gift shop and museum there. Like you can just go there and walk around, and they have a terrace that goes around the entire building, so you can see a lot. Like it's one of the best places to do sightseeing in all of DC. And you can just they have a parking garage. I mean, it's easy to get to. It's right next to the Watergate Hotel. It's like one of those best kept secrets of DC. Anyway, we went to this event, and the coolest thing about it is Tasha Cobbs Leonard was there worshiping, but they also had like a local worship band. And so I was in the Kennedy Center with like a couple thousand people, and we were worshiping the Lord. And it was such a beautiful thing because we know some of the things that have happened in the Kennedy Center, bad things in recent years, especially. And part of what Rick Grinnell is doing is bringing back things like this and celebrating faith in our nation. So it was really special to be a part of it, and I definitely want to go back. So now that it's being turned around, that's a destination that we'll definitely go to for events and performances. It's a beautiful, beautiful, like mid-century modern space that hasn't been spoiled by like horrible postmodern renovations. So I hope they don't ruin it. I don't
Cool.
think Grinnell will.
No, probably not. And you can go to Washington, D.C. now and probably not get mugged.
Right. And I'm planning to go back. And there's actually in a couple weeks, I'm going to be up there. There's a big event up there. And my friend Millie is going to be there. And Millie and I have never met in person. So
Oh, wow.
I'm actually going to see Millie. Hi, Millie, if you're here. She's busy today, but she's usually moderating for us. So I actually get to see her in real life. Isn't that amazing?
That'll be cool.
So, but I, during the holidays, I'm looking forward to actually being back in DC for fun things. Now, the only thing missing is that Trump has not bought back the Trump Hotel. So if you're listening, President Trump, could you take like Eric, I guess, could you get on that? Because yeah. Anyway.
All in good time.
Yeah. So, but I do recommend anybody when you go to DC, make a point and going to the Kennedy Center. They have a cafeteria up there too, with actual real food. You can get like a plate of food, not just a bunch of plastic. So it's a neat place, really neat. The garage does have low clearance, but that's pretty true of every single garage in DC. Just FYI, except the Reagan building. That's doable, but you have to be searched coming in and out. So there is that.
Good to know.
Yeah. Anything else? Oh, let's talk about some books. Can we talk about Dave's books? I know the one you want to talk about the most. There it is.
Arcturus.
Oh, wait, I have one more question about Brendan Carr, the FCC director. Have you contacted him? Have you connected? Because like I think you guys would geek out over ham radio and stuff. Like
he follows me.
I think you should. Have you DM'd him?
I haven't.
If you do, can you ask him to stop the telemarketers that are trying to sell me an IRS get out of jail free card?
I'll mention that.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. But seriously though, I think you guys should be friends. I do.
We'll see how it goes.
Okay. Maybe he's listening right now.
Who knows? He might be.
Yeah, I think you should be Dave's friend. I think you guys would get along great. Okay. All right, go.
Go what? Oh, Arcturus.
Talk about your book.
Like, what are we going about? What are we talking about? I'm lost. We're talking about FCC. Oh, Arcturus. My latest book, Arcturus, is my first foray into science fiction. And people seem to really like this book. I don't know why, but a guy gets kidnapped and taken to a planet billions of miles from Earth. He happens to be a mountaineer and a wilderness guide, and he is literally kidnapped and taken on a spaceship because they need him to climb the mountains of Arcturus and find out what the heck is up on top of that mountain and in the other places. And so I had a great time writing the story. If you know me, you know my writing style, and you know the subjects that I write about. So there is a bit of suspense in this book, and there is a journey of transformation.
A faith journey. Yeah.
It's a faith journey. The main character is at a low point in his life, literally tried to commit suicide because of survivor guilt from a tragic accident that happened. And as he's trying to check out of life, he gets taken to a planet where they tell him, you have to do the one thing you don't want to do anymore, which is climb mountains. So we get to see what happens to our main character with that challenge. And it's the first in a series. There's 3 books planned. I've got the other 2 books mostly written. And I have a lot of ideas for science fiction books coming up.
Well, we already have somebody asking when is book 2 coming out. So come on, Dave.
Well, I don't know because I'm working on some books on spiritual warfare.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have some other science fiction books coming. I have a dystopian epic coming that I'm working on. It's a 6-book series.
Wow.
Think Dune or Foundation.
Hunger Games.
It's a long series of books that I started working on that tells a very long story. It's a history of a civilization over about 1,000-year period.
Wow.
And what happens to this civilization through successive ages and dynasties. And I don't want to give away the secret to it, but I have 6 books planned in that series that I just started that a couple of weeks ago.
Wow.
I have a couple of books about artificial intelligence, kind of a what would happen if artificial intelligence were, because this is just a subject that has become highly relevant. What happens if AI takes control, if we give AI control and it is taken over by evil people?
Right.
What happens if it is taken over by benevolent, good people who get control of it? Right? There's a fork in the road coming where we're going to find out whether benevolent or malevolent people are going to take over AI. And so I have several books planned that discuss that particular subject, the future of Earth relative to AI and who controls it. And I got all kinds of, like I said, I've got 2 books on spiritual warfare I'm working on. Denise and I, the next book we're going to publish is probably going to be a book on marriage, love and marriage.
That's right.
Denise is hammering away on the keyboard this afternoon, working on the manuscript.
I wanted to tell everybody that your book is 40% off on Kindle right now.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. So if you want to buy it, grab it today. The link is up there.
Arcturus, 40% off on Kindle. That's a deal.
Mm-hmm.
And if you like the book and you've read it, if you want to leave a review, I would be eternally grateful. Science fiction is a difficult genre to break into. And if we can get people to leave reviews, good reviews, it'll help me greatly get the message out. And this is a message of redemption and transformation.
Good. Perfect.
It's worth people reading this book to get the message.
Excellent. And the other, I want to go over to your other fiction, because that's also very redemptive. Let me find it. Hold on.
Gates of Shiloh.
Yes.
And Charity's Garden.
It's on here. Everybody
First
just
2 books in another trilogy. The 3rd book is in the works.
Yeah. Where did it go? I'll find it. So I think I scanned too fast. There we go, right there. You can do that. I haven't checked the price on those lately, but
Couldn't
and
tell you.
and like I said, anybody that's getting, if you're having a hard time keeping track of all this right now, or you're just listening in the background, I'm gonna put Dave's books in my Amazon store. So I'll link that, and then you can just go down the whole list and buy, 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 buy. It'd be easy.
And by the way, when you purchase one of my books, that is how Denise and I are able to continue doing what we're doing. I don't have to go out on the streets and drive an ambulance around the East Valley of Phoenix because people are generous enough to purchase our books. You'll notice when I do my podcasts, I don't do any advertising. I don't need advertising. As long as people are, pick up one of my books when we put one out. I don't need to be selling stuff. We sell the books, and the books sales help us pay the bills. So we're very grateful when people purchase our books, and very grateful when people leave good reviews on the books. Gates of Shiloh and Charity's Garden. My first two novels in a series that explores emotional healing and demons. The role of demons in traumatizing and victimizing people. They're loosely based on the concept that C.S. Lewis presented in the Screwtape Letters, where these demons are messaging each other. One is a mentor and the other is a student. And I took that idea from the Screwtape Letters and put it into a modern context where a couple of women are harassed by demons who are plotting their demise. And so you get to look into this. You get to look into the spiritual world. What does a world of demons look like? What does a world of angels look like? What are the heavenly realms like? And the second book, Charity's Garden, is an unofficial autobiography of me. I'm never going to write a biography, but that book is as close as you're going to get to an autobiography. Much of the things that Charity goes through in Charity's Garden is based on things that I've actually gone through in my life. Charity in this series of books, Charity is essentially me. Her character is based on me for the most part. Good books. People like them. If you are curious about the emotional healing process, what does it look like to go through emotional healing in a practical way? These books explain it. Because both of the main characters are pretty emotionally hammered, and they go through the emotional healing process, and you get to watch it.
Yeah. And there's also this.
And there's also Emotional Healing Made Simple. The little tiny book that I published called Emotional Healing in 3 Easy Steps was massively popular, but it only scratches the surface of emotional healing. This book, Emotional Healing Made Simple, is the full Monty. It goes in depth, and it covers everything from the basic healing of simple emotional trauma to complex PTSD to full-on satanic ritual abuse and trauma-based mind control. It covers the whole gamut of emotional healing and deliverance. If you want to dive in deep, that's the book to get.
And these are all available through the link up there. So you can grab that. You can also go to Dave's website to get links to his books. I'm just going to see if this one is on sale today. Yeah, here we go. Kindle, 9.99. The Emotional Healing in 3 Easy Steps, which we don't have on the link. That one is actually free on Kindle right now.
Hmm. Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, um, that's the little booklet. So yeah, pretty awesome. Um, I think too, right now in the atmosphere in our country, our nation has been through a very big trauma in the last week and a half.
Yep.
So this could be a good book to get for people, to help them through this time, because I think a lot of people are still suffering, and processing
Yeah. If
what's
you find
happened.
yourself um, continually dwelling on the negativity surrounding any event, whether it's Charlie Kirk's death or any other event, if you're continually plagued by feelings of hopelessness, despair, I'm frozen, I can't move forward, uh, any of those negative feelings, the emotional healing books, just go through the process, can be incredibly helpful. It's a simple process. It's not rocket science. For most people, it's a simple process. For other people, it can be a little more of a complex process, depending on the kind of emotional trauma that you've suffered and whether or not you've got trauma-based programming that needs to be broken. And a lot of people do, and then a lot of people don't even know they have been programmed. But again, if you are dealing with negative emotions, I really suggest checking out the book and going through the process.
Yeah, yeah. And again, there may be people that you want to share it with too, because I think everybody processes things differently. But this is really affected people worldwide, nationwide, worldwide. So it's a good resource. Um, Somebody said that your podcast helped my daughter with nightmares. So it's good. Great. Thank you for sharing that.
Awesome.
Um, yeah. So I think we're at a good stopping point here, Dave.
I think so too.
Yeah. Um, Pray for our country. Pray for President Trump.
Yep.
Pray for Erica Kirk and her family.
Yeah.
Um,
Pray for everyone who's going to be in Glendale
yes.
at the ceremony, the memorial service tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah.
Safety, that nothing bad will happen, that you know people will be comforted by God's peace.
Yeah. And for all of the people who have received seeds of the gospel from what's happened the past few weeks, that it would fall on fertile ground, that those people who have turned their life over to Jesus would get the support and help that they need to grow in their faith, and that the people who are just now thinking through and processing and being encountering the gospel would make a decision for Jesus, because that's what the enemy meant for evil, the Lord is turning for good, and we're seeing that. And but we want those people to grow and mature and to walk in faith, not just to have a one-time emotional experience, but to really grow in faith. And for all of those young people, the high schoolers, the Gen Z, who are taking very seriously and walking into the path that Charlie opened up for them, just pray for them. Pray for their safety. They're in hostile environments, a lot of them, and they're very bold. We had a few kids who set up a vigil here in our town, and it was amazing. They set up the entire thing, organized it, spoke, introduced the speakers. It was really good. They really well done. And there is a generation that is making a difference, that will make a difference. They need our prayers and our support. So,
Amen.
anything else?
Nope.
Okay. So don't forget, go to the website, get on the mailing list, marygracemedia.com. And we will be back for another episode of Conspiracy of Truth. As always, go outside, touch some grass, leave your phone behind, look up at the sky, and enjoy time with your family. And if there is anybody in your family or circle that you are having problems with, that there's, relational issues, pray for reconciliation. Life is short, as we've seen. And if you feel God prompting you in some way, follow that prompt. So, everybody have a wonderful weekend.